Hello, it's summer. Welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out this summer in the PC Mag Labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Jim Fisher. Awesome, shake it like a Polaroid. We have Social Pete here taking your comments and questions if you are watching us live on Facebook. If you are watching us later on YouTube, then please like and subscribe, and we will have a One Cool Thing every day for you. Today's One Cool Thing is this. It is a physical incarnation of Instagram. It is the, what is this called again?
It is the Fujifilm Instax Square SQ6.
Okay.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful, but what's important is that this is a fun, instant camera for your summer fun adventures, to take photos, to hand out to people, to share, to show around at the party, at the pool, at the beach. Is this entirely analog?
It is. It is Fujifilm's first Instax Square analog camera. Mm-hmm. They have many analog Instax mini cameras and one wide model, which is kind of the same height but a little wider on the film format. Last year we had the SQ10, which was this strange thing. It was a digital camera with a cell phone sensor and a tiny lens and a printer built in.
Right.
And you could take shots digitally and filter them and then print them out on demand. And at the time that came out, that was $280. It's now down to $200, a little bit of a better deal. This is $130. This is for someone who wants no digital nonsense. They just want analog instant prints.
So what's the difference between the different Fuji Instax formats?
All right, there's three of them. There's Instax Mini, which is 1.8 by 2.4 inches picture size. So about the same height as this, but cut off. Mm-hmm. This is Instax Square, 2.4 by 2.4. Mm-hmm. And then the Instax Wide format is 3.6 wide by 2.4 high. So it's basically two minis together, or this extended out a little bit wider.
Okay.
So those are your three film formats. Mini and wide are available in color and monochrome. Mm-hmm. As of now, Square is color only, but I would be shocked if we don't see a monochrome version coming out at some point now that this camera's on the market.
And now, how does the price compare in terms of the film for the three formats? Do you have to buy it from Fuji? Are there multiple film providers?
Fujifilm is the only filmmaker for this Square format. Mm-hmm. Leica does sell Fujifilm branded Instax Mini film because Leica has its own branded Fujifilm Instax Mini camera called the Sofort. But yeah, it's Fujifilm only. They're sold in 10 packs. So 10 shots per cartridge, and the cartridges sell for about $15. So you're looking at $1.50 an image for the Square format, which is about twice as much as the Mini or the Wide.
So now I know that Polaroid, or whoever makes things that are branded Polaroid.
Polaroid Originals is what was the Impossible Project is now Polaroid Originals. So it's its own thing. Their film is closer to $2.50 to $3 a shot. It's much pricier. Mm-hmm. It's a larger format. It's like 3.5 by 3.5 inches, roughly, image area. And they're black and white. I love their black and white materials. The Impossible, or the Polaroid Originals I-type black and white film is great. Their color film is not as saturated as this, and you have to block it from light as it develops, which is kind of a pain. But if you love the larger format, and you don't mind spending the money and dealing with the finickiness of their materials, the Polaroid One Step 2 is their $100 instant camera. Okay,
so let's walk around the features of this camera itself. What do we have in terms of a lens? What do we have in terms of ability to focus?
Yep, it's autofocus. It is a 28mm equivalent lens, so it's a wide angle. It can focus to about 12 inches, for close-up shots, so it's not a super macro, but you can get fairly close to things. There on the back here, you've got various picture modes. I shot this one because we're under studio lights here with the little bit of overexposure, and it came out, Sasha's face is a little washed out from the lights because they're so bright in here, and this is ISO 800 film.
More than that, I'm a little concerned that I'm blurry.
Well, you're moving. Yeah, it was a slower shutter speed because I had the longer exposure on here.
Oh, okay.
There's also a darker mode you can change. There's the automatic mode by default.
So you can't set the aperture or shutter speed, but you have modes which are essentially setting aperture or shutter priority?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's automatic, and you have a selfie mode and a macro mode, which are essentially the same. They basically that's how the lens focus is close. So when it's in that mode, the lens extends out a little bit more to focus closer, and that's when you're shooting at about 12 inches.
How would you selfie with something like this?
Well, there's a mirror.
Ah.
There's a mirror.
Where's the mirror?
The mirror's right here by the lens.
Okay.
So I would just frame myself up in the mirror, like so, and pop the flash. I'm under the lights. There's really no way to turn. There is a flash suppress button on the back if you don't want to pop the flash, and I might have wanted to use that since I'm so well lit in here, but I left it on.
I unfortunately in this shot I look like one of the I look like one of the demons from 1980s horror movie Jacob's Ladder.
That's okay because I've got six shots left here, so we can get a nicer, more flattering one of Sasha. I turned the flash off on that one. We'll see what happens.
Great. Okay, so now how am I seeing? Okay, so there's a little indicator here to show how much.
Physical film counter.
How much you have left?
Yep.
Okay.
There are, and I forgot to bring them in. There are little gels for the flash too that are shipped with it. There's 3 color gels, so you can do like a crazy red or green tints or I think purple on your photos. I'm not a big fan of that. I took one with the red filter. I was like, wow, that's really red. I hate that. But if you're into that, it's available. I like the camera. We gave it a 3.5. There's some things I didn't. There's some foibles that I don't like about it. I'm a left-eyed shooter, so I kind of like this. But if you shoot with your right eye, it's a little awkward.
You're blocking your whole face with the camera.
Yeah. So the position of the viewfinder is kind of on the opposite end of what you typically see on a camera like this. And the shutter button is not bad here, but holding it and using the shutter, I just don't have enough. I wish this little body's a little wider.
Yeah.
Because the lens is so big. That was an issue. It's actually more comfortable for me to hold it in the selfie position because of the way it grips.
Okay, so do we have any questions out there?
What kind of battery life would you get from this?
It uses 2 CR2 batteries. Thank you for
What's
asking.
a CR2 battery?
What is a CR2 battery? CR2 battery is a photo battery. You see it in some older 35mm SLRs. It's kind of like a squat.
Oh, it's like a little
short
chubby battery.
AA, yeah. And I believe these are rated for about 400 shots. So 40 packs of film. I would recommend going on Amazon, looking at the Amazon Basics brand and buying a box of these and just keeping it on the shelf somewhere because the battery life is actually really good because it's not using a lot of power and these are pretty long lasting. You're going to run into that situation where you've run out of batteries at the worst possible time. You can't go to 7-Eleven and buy CR2s. You need to go to Lowe's or order them online. And you're going to, if you have the spare batteries, just remember where you put them. Write yourself a note somewhere. Batteries are here because it's the type of thing where if you've had them sitting there for a year, where are they?
We have a battery drawer in our kitchen.
It's like that. So yeah, keep a spare set around.
So now how about durability and I want to say weatherproofing, but I really mean kind of summer fun proofing?
It's $130. It's all plastic.
Okay.
It's not weather sealed. There aren't a lot of electronics in here. I mean, there's obviously a mechanical thing to push the film out and the flash and the lens.
If I'm standing in front of the pool and somebody goes like this with the water and splashes me, is that a big problem?
I wouldn't worry too much.
Okay.
If it falls in the pool, you're probably buying yourself a new camera. But if you get splashed, just get a towel and dry it off.
Wow.
There's not a lot of stuff going on in here.
I feel like I certainly in my world of phones and tablets, I don't see something this mechanical that often.
Yeah. And it's not even the most mechanical Instax Square. Lomography has, which we reviewed earlier this year, and links out from the view, the Lomo Instant Square, which is a little pricier, $200. I liked it a little bit more because it doesn't have quite a wide angle lens. It's got a 40mm equivalent, so it's a little more standard angle. And because of that, you get a little more bokeh effect with your images, and it's manual focus, and it's folding, it's kind of retro styled in its own different way. But the image quality from this is quite good.
Yeah,
it's a plastic lens, but
I do feel it's a little. I feel like it's washing out bright areas somewhat.
Well, again, we're under bright lights, and this is ISO 800 film, even though this is like an f12.9 lens or 11.6 lens.
Can you get lower ISO film?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is that's the format.
Okay, let's take some more questions.
Are there instant cameras out there with app functionality?
That hybrid digital analog that you were talking about.
That does not have any wireless connectivity.
Huh.
Yeah, that was actually a sticking point. I thought that if it had wireless connectivity, because that one has a memory card, so a micro SD slot, and it's supposed to be able to print off images from other cameras on your micro SD, but I found it was very hit or miss on what it would actually recognize when I was testing it.
That's
the,
so weird.
The SQ10. Impossible, when it was still Impossible, had a camera called the i1, which I think you can still buy on Closeout. It's no longer in production. It had Bluetooth and an app to control it via Bluetooth.
But I would say that, like, if you're thinking about an instant camera with app functionality, maybe you're just thinking about a Zinc printer.
No, not necessarily. So one of the things I liked about the Impossible i1 is that with the app functionality, you could dial in a long exposure. So I was able to set it on a tripod and take it to a carnival at
So
night
you can use it to
and do
control
the Ferris wheel spinning and get the blurs. So you could set in like a 30-second exposure, set up on the tripod and fire it, from there. Whereas the actual camera itself didn't have any ability to do that physically. Mint is a company out of, I forget where, Hong Kong maybe. I'll have to look that up. But they're in the Far East, and they have started out refurbing old Polaroid cameras, but they've started to make their own. They have a fully manual Instax wide rangefinder that is currently under pre-order. I think it's around $1,000. And there are some early prototype looks on the web. I know. I think the Photographer did one. If you're really interested in that type of camera, I haven't got a chance to get hands-on with it yet. It's very interesting. It's manual focus rangefinder. It's bigger, but it's $1,000. So you're paying a premium for getting that old tech new. If you really want full manual control, get yourself an old refurbed Polaroid SX70 and load it with Impossible materials.
But I don't think that's what the questioner was asking about.
You're right. I strayed a little bit there.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I went into long exposure mode.
You were wandering off into what you actually like to do. That's the thing.
No, app functionality in these is not what you're thinking of. App functionality, not really. There are some companion apps that will let you, quote, scan this film with your phone. And what they basically do is let you put it down in a position where you can shoot it off angle and have keystone correction there, so you don't get glare on your shots.
But I think I also want to point out that if you're not familiar, if you haven't been watching One Cool Thing for months and months and months, and so you haven't seen all of our cool things, there is a whole world of little printers that can turn the photos you've taken with your digital device into instant-like photos.
Yes, and Fujifilm makes a couple.
Okay.
They have the Instax Square SP3, which uses this film, and the SP2, which uses the mini film.
Right.
So you have your choice of formats, and it's basically a Wi-Fi printer without a camera. It's just a Wi-Fi printer that connects to your phone, is run by an app, and any image on your phone.
The size of a deck of cards, right?
It's
a little bigger than that.
It's like it's about it's not that dissimilar from this size
just
with the lens closed. Yeah. It's a little more angular, a little taller.
So if we're talking about getting this kind of output from an app, that's the direction.
If you're looking to print your digital images onto this film, the Instax Square SP3 is what you want to look at.
Okay, great. Let's take a closer look at the output when I wasn't like vibrating like the Flash.
Yeah.
Here we have the shot that Jim took of me. And you can see, my foreshortened hand here, but you can see this nice, rich blue color in my shirt. I really like that. As he was pointing out, not a lot of bokehs going on here. It's a pretty deep depth of field.
Yep.
And with your ISO 800, the light reflecting off of my forehead is getting pretty white there. And then here is the selfie mode, and this looks terrific.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Despite the subject.
Yeah, that looks great, but
there's a little bit of blur on the One Cool Thing, but not a lot. And that's a couple feet behind me.
Just enough. And like we're getting like detail on your beard. Your skin looks really lively. I really like that. Any more questions out there?
I think we're set. Just to, I think you may have clarified this earlier. What's our editor's choice in this category?
Our editor's choice, for instance, we have a few. For entry level, I like the Instax Mini 9 from Fujifilm because it's $70 and it takes the cheap film. It's the smaller film. It's 75 cents a shot, roughly. It is your budget option. On the higher end, I like the Lomo Instant Wide, which is the Fujifilm Instax Wide format because it's a bigger negative, it's a bigger image, bigger positive image, and it's a little more impactful. We also liked in the mini format for premium users, the Lomo Instant Automat glass, which has an ultra wide angle, like a 21 millimeter equivalent glass lens.
I was going to say glass lens.
Yeah, much better image quality. Probably the sharpest images I've seen out of a modern instant camera. Because most of these have plastic lenses. We did not give an editor's choice to the Lomo Instax Square, even though that also has a glass lens and is quite nice. Give 4 stars, give it a slightly higher review of this. We've not named an editor's choice for the Square, this particular film format, just because the film format's in a weird place right now. It's a little too pricey for super casual use. Right. And the mini format really fills that niche. So you're looking at people who are willing to spend twice as much per image, which are usually more serious photographers. And I've yet to, the Lomo is the closest I've seen to one that really hits the marks that the more serious photographers are going to
Right, you don't really have the control and the lens quality that you want as a serious photographer.
This is for casual use and someone who loves the square format and doesn't want to spend doesn't want to shoot digital at all. This is a really good choice.
So when are we going to see this format film coming out at $1 an image rather than $1.50 an image?
It's probably going to trickle. It's probably going to slide down as time goes by. I mean, the older film used to be more expensive, and now it's less. Well, I guess it'll be depending on Fujifilm. If Fujifilm feels it needs to make a correction in pricing.
Okay. So to recap, we have here the Fujifilm Instax Square SQ6. It's $129. The shots cost about $1.50 each for this film, which is kind of basically the major downside here.
It is. And you've got to, if you're willing to, if you want to be more selective with what you print, but you still want to have the option to print, the SQ10 is there, and now it's $200, and that's a little more appealing than $280, which it was when we reviewed it last year.
Okay, but just in general, I have to say, I love, especially as we're heading into the summer, I love the idea of these little instant cameras. I love the little instant cameras and the little instant printers that let you print images off of your smartphone into formats like this. This is a party image. This is for when you're gathered together with a lot of people, you're handing things around, you actually want to hand a physical image to your friends. It takes you back into an era before everything was digital and floating into the cloud. It's perfect for summer. Yeah. This has been one cool thing with the Fujifilm Instax Square SQ6. It is 3.5 stars, not quite an editor's choice. Recap the editor's choices in this area one last time.
The Fujifilm Instax Mini 9 for low-end budget. The Lomo Automat Glass for mini format. The Lomo Instax, the Lomo Automat Wide for the larger wide format for someone who wants to get the largest image and the most creative control out of something. And we have a roundup, there are more than a dozen of these on the market. There are currently 1, 2, 3 using this format, the SQ10, the SQ6, and the Lomo Instax Square. Lomo currently has a Kickstarter going on for a Diana F+, which uses this. And that is going to actually have interchangeable lenses, which should be interesting. And they have a 75mm glass lens for it, which is, I think, that lens by itself is a couple $100. But with the plastic lens, the camera is much more affordable. I think it's around $100 or $150. But it's not shipping yet. It's still in the Kickstarter phase. However, as wary as Sasha and I are about saying spend money on Kickstarter, Lomography has a very solid Kickstarter track record. It's more of a pre-order than a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I would consider Lomography to be a solid company.
I would not hesitate. In fact, I bought the Lomo Instax Square for myself via Kickstarter from them, and it was delivered early.
Okay.
Okay,
well, thank you all for watching. This has been One Cool Thing. If you are watching on Facebook, come back at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We will have another cool thing. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Come back any weekday, any working weekday in the U.S., and we will have another cool thing for you.